Okie dokie, and we're live. What's going on, everybody? Long time no see. Yeah, sorry about the delay on the last stream. Let's see how this sounds now. Okay, it sounds pretty good. All right, cool. Yeah. All right. I put us in lockdown mode for the time being. I will so I'm in tin can mode. So if you see a little bit of weirdness, I do apologize. You know what? Let me go ahead and pull up chat so I can read chat. I actually just noticed it appears YouTube has updated their chat with a actually, guys, let me know in the comments if you can actually see a message in the live chat that it seems like you can't get rid of, and it says welcome to the live chat, please remember to abide by our community guidelines, or some dumb shit like that. Let's see if I can show it. Yeah, like that. Yeah, so I just tested that inside of my setup, and lo and behold, it's like all over. It's just sitting there all ugly and shit on on the fucking right in front of all of that, right on top of all that really nice stuff that I designed. So like on that last stream, the stream last week. So I got to go in and, like, I guess learn actual CSS now. So hooray, and fix that, because I didn't go through all of the effort I put into setting up this stuff over the course of the week and everything like that, just to do these really dope streams starting with Zaza tomorrow, and have this blight of a public safety message. Yes, my chat is mature enough. I will decide if they need to remember. Thank you, YouTube, to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. Can you guys do that? You guys think you're okay with that? That's fine. You think you can handle that? Yeah, I don't think we need a fucking. I don't think we need a little sticky note to remind everybody. I think we're all adults here. Anyways. All right. So this stream, I don't normally do this, cause I think, I mean, no offense to anyone who does like the content warning thing or stuff like that, but I think that stuff's kind of dumb. If everyone is an adult on the internet, but I understand it's a sensitive subject, and in the context of everything, from how our viewers are and stuff. So I'm gonna put it here. This stream is going to deal with a post that is dealing with self-harm. So if that's not your thing, just a heads up. If you think it might be your thing, but you just don't want to see the post, I'm going to show the post. I'm going to read the description, and then I can click off of it. But just a heads up, this stream is going to be dealing with self-harm. I know it's kind of a sensitive thing for people, and I'm kind of an asshole, but I'm not like heartless. I understand, this in particular. So this is a curveball I didn't actually see coming to talk about. So this is going to be an interesting discussion. So, anyways, there's your warning, I guess. I stumbled over it so horribly, I think. Anyway, so it came to a lot of people's attention. Madmans Esprit made a Instagram post, and for those of you who don't know, Madmans Esprit is a South Korean Visual Kei inspired and also black metal inspired artist. I think black metal pop is, I believe, how he described his music. I actually did a interview with him on Facebook Live. You can see it on JRock Vault's page. We kind of we talked about music. We talked about a few of his different interests, things like that. There's only so much I could really get into, I felt like, because it's Facebook, and I didn't want to, here we kind of go like nuts when we have people on, but I thought it was nice. It was very professional, kind of sticking to the general artist questions and things like that. Got some good feedback. People seem to like it. But he's a cool guy. He's an interesting guy. He's his subject material and his outlook is very, I would say, dark. Maybe. I guess I don't know if it's like dark compared to like how dark it is compared to other VK artists, but he's got he comes from black metal. He kind of has a bit of a focus on like just really expressing his raw emotions and how he's feeling. He's not going to sugarcoat stuff, and I kind of always respect that about someone. So I mean, like, he was very very blunt. He's very upfront. Like I threw him a softball question from the chat, like, what's your favorite thing about Japanese culture? And he straight up was like, can we change it to what I don't like about Japanese culture, because I don't like Japanese culture. And I was like, oh, spicy, I like it. So so that's the kind of guy he is. He made a post that I think is going to be pretty controversial, so we're gonna look at it. I took a poll on Discord. People wanted me to talk about it. I'm going to have some takes I don't know if people are going to be all that much of a fan of. I'm not really here to judge too hard, but I'm going to give my thoughts on it. I put this in the description, but all my thoughts are my thoughts. They don't represent VKH officially. And unfortunately, I can't really unlock chat and show it right now on screen. I don't want to have this stupid ass message showing on my stream. But I will go and read, what your guys' thoughts are. So feel free. So just a warning, one last time, about to show the post. So self-harm, 3, 2, 1. YouTube, please don't. I don't know. I was gonna say demonetize, but we're not monetized. Okay. So this is the post. So it's a concept photo for a razor. It says Madmans Esprit, Korean painless steel. Madmans Esprit says, this is a design I wanted to use to make a necklace or a charm. There's a few different interpretations of my intent, even on an emotional level. Here's the thing. In this world, big companies are selling branded diabetes, branded cancer, branded sexual objectification under the vain promise of a happy life. This design is meant to represent and twist the reality that we are living in under the honest promise of death. Especially in South Korea, where the suicide rate is highest among OECD countries, I want to make people question about why the reality is formed this way and why people don't want to live this reality anymore. Whilst I make merchandise that fans want to purchase, I want to put certain aesthetic visions into everything that is under Madmans Esprit's name. I also don't think people who like my music would just want something shallow and looking cool. If you think the people you care about would suddenly harm themselves just because they could buy a branded razor blade, you probably should put more care into what they are dealing with on a daily basis with their own reality. I've been there. I'm in there. I'm not planning to murder nor fix my fans. I don't say life is so greater than death. I'm not a naive and sweet person who would thoughtlessly make a harmless, cool-looking design. Madmans Esprit has been and still is representing certain realm of life and death. If you cannot deal with those topics, you shouldn't listen to it. If you want to go beyond, you're welcomed. Yeah, so this was shocking to some fans, to some people. I can look at some of the comments. I feel like many people commenting have not actually listened to a single lyric of Madmans Esprit song. They would be quite shocked. There's a lot of people actually defending him. So, oh, now everything is clear. I didn't want to say anything bad because I wasn't sure if it's a real blade or not. I guess there are many misunderstandings. Anyway, thanks for telling more about this. So I'm guessing he edited his post to better clarify that it's not an actual razor blade. Because I know there was some discussion about whether or not it was actually a razor blade or not, that he was going to be selling. No. Some of the older comments may have gotten deleted, to be honest with you. There was a lot of like crazy activity going on with this. So, okay. Chip says, can we just spam messages until the message disappears? You can try, my guy. Let me see. How bad does this look? Did it just put an ugly thing on stream? Nope. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Had to pull this up to see. You can try spamming stuff if you guys don't mind. See if it gets it off the screen. It's not that bad, I guess. I can leave it up for now. So I'm about to break every guideline ever. God damn it, Chip. Chip's going to get us kicked off. We're going to have to run straight to stream me. Okay. So yeah, so this kind of throws a wrench in the plans because I saw this like before I went live. I was like, well, he seems to have clarified that it was just a charm and not a razor blade. Either way, my thoughts on this were mainly... I honestly, like, there were some people that were really disturbed by this, and I understand that it is shocking, but given the personally, I don't care too much. Like, it doesn't. It's not. I don't want him banned for doing it. I don't think. I think it's a bold move, you could say. I think it's a risky move, I guess. But I mean, I think some of the people in the comments honestly do have a point that it's like, if you haven't been listening to this guy's music, he is very, very dark. If it's and the fact that it's a charm and everything, like, either way, it should. I mean, either or, you're either okay with both of them or none of them. I would say, like, even if he was like selling razor blades hypothetically, which he doesn't seem to be doing, but for me personally, it's like I don't have a huge problem with it on the surface. I mean, you could argue it's in bad taste, but at that point, it's coming down to taste. So, and he did go out of his way to really back up his points with, like, big companies are, like talking about like the context behind it, and it's like, yeah, I'm selling a razor blade to parody the fact that you're going to go down to McDonald's and kill yourself with the crap that you're buying there, and and all this other stuff that he sees through his personal lens as stuff that's, like, killing you. So I get it. What I'm curious about, and what I think there's more of a conversation to be had, is this is the stuff that I was talking about where like earlier in the year, I was talking about certain issues that would come up as it came to like internet censorship or, you know, Westerners starting to censor Japanese art or foreign art, you know, just in general, based on their sensibilities. A lot of people I feel like that are reacting to this, it does kind of seem like a Western sensibility that's being offended. And this is what I was warning about, which is that, first of all, you have every right to be offended by this if this offends you. If this bothers you, you have every right to be bothered by this. You have every right to comment and let him know that it bothers you, even if you're a fan. So go ahead, feel free, go nuts. I mean, I don't know if he deletes comments or if he replies to comments. He has every right to. You guys have every right to engage with each other both ways. He has the right to make this stuff. You have the right to criticize this stuff. I have the right to analyze this stuff. And that's really the way it should be, because that's how the free flow of ideas moves forward. That's how we all learn from each other. That's how we all change each other's minds about things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Beyond that, what I'm worried about is that, like, this is the kind of, or not worried about, I'm curious about, like, this is the kind of stuff that I was talking about with, like, Visual K, that it's like, when it comes to America, or when it comes to the West, or when more Western outlets start picking up on it, like, this is the kind of stuff that I was talking about, that Visual K is going to be especially vulnerable to, like censorship, people getting offended because of one thing or another. I like to use the Black Swans music videos as an example, because like the left wingers would be like, oh, this is like promoting rape culture, if they just look at it without any context of art, any artistic context. And then the right wingers, the hard right wingers, would just look at the guys dressed like girls and just be like, this is degeneracy. But like, you know, it looks a little satanic and stuff too. So like you get something like the Black Swan, and it's going to piss off both sides. So it's literally not even, you know, it would literally be, I really see our scene and having a potential existential threat of literally having no friends in the fight for like free speech and the protection of art. And the way things are going online right now, I'm not 1,000% confident that things are going to do anything but deteriorate to that point. So I especially want to like hammer that home right now, that he has the right to post this. And if you care about Visual K, if you care about alternative culture, if you care about people making points, if you care about Duran Gray, if you care about, you know, like if you like songs like The Final, where Kyo is explicitly walking through in the lyrics about cutting open his wrists, it's all about suicide. It is about that, even if it's not in your language. If that stuff actually matters to you and you want to see that stuff, you know, continue to be experienced by people online without it being taboo, you need to be okay with this existing on the internet. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to have anything to do with it if it's not your thing. It's not really my thing personally. It's a little too much edge for me. I personally find that if you play Suicide Chicken with the internet usually wins. Like, someone tweets out like a picture of themselves on a balcony and says, I'm going to jump. I've seen people reply to photos like that with do a flip. So like, that's not really a competition that I would see someone winning. As an artistic expression with the secure fan base and everything, obviously it's a little bit different. If he's able to make his point in style, which he does as a Visual K artist, you know, it comes off a little bit cooler than like a random social media post, for example. But I guess, that would be my first point, is that I would strongly urge you to consider being okay with this existing online. And I'm curious if Instagram would eventually take this off, because self-harm kind of seems like one of those things that, like, you know, if I were a Silicon Valley tech company who was, you know, on my knees doing whatever for my advertisers, I would be like, this would be on my list of, oh, well, this isn't advertiser friendly, you know, like that kind of shit. So, yeah, that's kind of why I know I'm kind of rambling here. I'm trying to find like the best way to put it, because it's honestly not that big of a deal to me. I know it's a kind of a big deal to certain people, and it sets like a bad precedent. I guess I guess one of the more ethical things is, like, you know, profiting off of self-harm, or like the culture around self-harm. And there's a couple different like arguments that you can take from that. You know, one, like, you know, this is kind of why it's difficult to sell music or sell art, is that, you know, ostensibly these are artists and not businessmen, but they got to eat at the same time. So, I mean, that, you know, if he wasn't making any money from this, would you be okay with it? And then, I mean, even then, the follow-up question is like, even if he is making money for this, the fact that he's putting food in his mouth just so he can keep making more art, like, are you okay with that? I mean, does that seem ethically right? Does that seem fine to you? I think it's fine. I think it's fine for me personally. It's like, if you can live with it, like, you know, make it. That's kind of where I'm at with this. You know, it's one guy. It's an indie guy. There's no corporatism around this. You know, anything beyond any sort of like guesses I make in terms of like, oh, is this guy like profiting off of, like, you know, self-harm, it's just going to be guesswork. It's just going to be like me trying to be a mind reader. It would be very hypocritical for me to take that stance. So in terms of like, should he do it, as opposed to like, he's allowed to, you know, because that's always a good thing, is it's like, there's you know, sometimes let's not ask can we, sometimes let's ask should we. You know, I just I'm torn personally. Like, it's not my style personally, so like, but it's more on like I don't think I would, if I were to do something like this, it would land very well. So that immediately disqualifies me from even getting to the quandary of like, oh, is this fine or whatever. But yeah, I guess that's the best I can kind of do to really talk out my thoughts on it. I was hoping I would have like a more coherent thought by now on it, but really the main thing I wanted to get in terms of like, is it okay or not? But that's never really been my thing. Is this okay? That's always been like a little vague for me. My whole main point is that I would just want to highlight this as something that you should defend, even if you disapprove of it. That's like it's a very classic liberal saying, is I wholeheartedly disapprove of what you say, but I will I will defend to the death your right to say it. It's a fundamental mechanism that allows art to flow freely across a nation, across the internet, that kind of a thing. So if they come for this, they come for Jaren Gray. They come for Black Swan. They come for Sharake eventually, you know, like there's, you know, they'll find something fucked about something or other, you know. It never stops with one thing. It never stops with, oh, think of the children with the razor blade. It's like, yeah, okay. That's what they said during the Satanic Panic. Yeah, I think that's about where I'm at in terms of this. Let me see what chat's saying. But yeah, if you like, you know, have any history of self-harm and stuff like that, like, I do want to clarify, I'm not saying be okay with it personally. Like, I'm not saying you should look at this, you should be consuming this content if it bothers you. My point is to bring up that it's even the abhorrent stuff in the art form needs to be defended if you find it abhorrent, for example. So let me see how I can do this. Sorry, I'm dealing with very cramped windows. I put myself in tin can mode for this stream because I have some rough Wi-Fi, and part of that involved changing the display. So you know what? Let me just get on my phone, because all my windows are now too big for me to pull anything up on screen without screwing stuff up. So I'm just going to read chat on my phone. But yeah, that was the best I can. Well, it's only been 30 minutes. Okay, so we're not doing too bad. I just that's really the most I would have to say on it personally. It's just not something that bothers me too much. And then even if it did, I would still defend it on the principle for what I explained. My only actual concern is the concept of the only thing I've coming close to a concern would be like profiting off of self-harm. I think the artistic merit of it kind of removes that, and to a degree. And if he can live with selling them, that's his call. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about is this reminded me actually of. Oh yeah, this was one other thing that I remembered right before stream. I don't know if you guys remember Hollywood Undead. They're still around. Really wild, intense rap rock group from California. They from Hollywood. They had a song come out on, I guess, their second album, maybe third album, when they were really, really blowing up years back. It's called Bullet. And they were really known for like their rough, hard rock sound with like their rapping style. And they rapped about a lot of fucked up shit, or just really like, they were very explicit. They were either rapping about partying, or they were rapping about like people being like really messed up on drugs, or like just, really not in a good state, like really like a lot of unhealthy sides of party culture, which I thought was interesting that they captured that. They had a song come out called Bullet, and it's like this happy acoustic folk song, and it's like and they're singing all cheerfully, and they're rapping in the verses, but it's all this happy, cheerful acoustic music, and it's all about suicide. It's just all about, like, it's like, my legs are dangling off the edge, the bottom of a bottle is my only friend, I think I slipped my wrist again, and I'm gone, 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 gone. Like, really dark but really happy, hyper catchy too. Was especially fucked up when it came out. And so I was looking into like what what they were saying about why they wrote the song at the time, and they had an interesting concept. I don't consider them that deep of a band or anything, but like, it's not a deep concept at the end of the day. But it's a good one, I think. They said the point of doing it that way, of doing a song like that, is to call people's bluff. Call the bluff of people who are, is to give people who are feeling that way an outlet, and to also call their bluff as they do that, basically. So basically it's like, if you sometimes I guess it would be like, if you're really viciously depressed, or maybe just like really in a bad mood, or you're just like, I want to kill myself. Sometimes if you get in your head enough, you like start to feel like, oh, I do want to kill myself. And then you go and you listen to this song where they're casually singing about it, and it's like, yeah, we're just going to do it. Let's do it. And then you're singing along like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then by the end of the song, you don't want to do it. like you got it out of your system, you this, that, so it's like an outlet, and it's at the same time, it's like calling it so hard on the nose like that. For some people, it deflects them from even going that route. So I thought that was interesting, because it's like, on the one hand, it would be like, okay, before it was just like, well, before I was thinking it was like, well, it's like an outlet. It's like people entertaining the fantasy, so they can just kind of like go one more day or something like that. But then like the bluntness with which they go after it at the same time. And this is pretty blunt, it's like Korean painless steel, and it's going to be like on a charm, on a necklace. He wears one on a necklace. That'll shock some people out of it. That'll call some people on their bluff, and just like realize that they're bluffing to themselves. I mean, it's not like they're, it's not like there's anybody else to bluff to, I guess. But like, sometimes you just get in your own head and you trick yourself into thinking you're more desperate than you actually think than you actually are. That's why it's like good to talk with someone, or have some form of outside input as you're thinking that stuff through, as you're thinking like your emotions through, processing things, because your brain might be distorting even how your own brain is viewing like something as serious as suicide. Like, I want to kill myself. And then like, you listen to a song like that and you're like, oh, that was very direct. I actually don't want to do that. So yeah, that was just an aside. But anyway, I think I've made my points clear enough, I hope. Okay, let's see. Chip says, my main point on the dude is that across his social media is beyond Visual K. He labels himself as depressive suicide black metal, which is obviously a super niche genre. But anyone who is familiar, depressive black metal is a subgenre of black metal. I saw that on the internet the other day, actually. I'm trying to research black metal a little bit. The music is made with a purpose to create a hypnotic and depressive atmosphere and plunge the listener into the feeling of despair and hopelessness. Yeah, and then Ash follows up with, it's called depressive black metal. Either way, I understand why people are upset about it. It might be in bad taste, but I think the only thing I don't like is the tagline of Korean painless steel. Yeah, kind of feeding into the on the nose thing. Ash is just giving branding advice, technically, I guess. I just think it doesn't sound right. He could have used a different tagline. Yeah, it's a little, it's very on the nose there. Like I said, it's like, it's a lot of edge. Pardon the pun of the title, by the way, but I couldn't help myself. It's like, and then you read Korean painless steel and you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I get it, because it's a razor. Like, but let's see. It's been up for 4 days. I doubt they're going to do anything about it now. Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's plenty of Visual K music videos that have like people cutting themselves and stuff like that, as you all know. I guess those don't get taken down on YouTube either. So, but if like he decides to like, cause there's no reason to like assume that he won't like go even harder or more intense into this concept if this is like an actual issue for him personally, or if he is like really intent on drawing that comparison and throwing it in people's faces, that it's like, hey, you judge people who cut themselves, but then you go you go destroy your own body for your own pleasure in this other way. I would be kind of, a hypocrite if I stopped him from that, or not if I stopped him from that, if I wanted to stop him from that, which I wouldn't. I would actually like to see that, because, yeah, I don't know. Like, when was the last time you heard like an artist talk about cutting themselves and stuff like that in a way that wasn't like old cringy emo shit? You know, it's not like people stopped self-harming just because emo music went out of fashion. And honestly, Visual K kind of pulls it off quite well, to where it's not that cheesy anymore. I'm probably going to talk about this a bit with Zaza tomorrow, because they talk about, their music really evokes like certain feelings of like emotional instability and crisis that I think kind of transcends the cringe barrier, I guess, for like emotional music, quote unquote, and goes past the emo thing and gets to some real shit that is like too artistic for people to just dismiss as like, oh, that's like some high school emo stuff. You'll grow out of it. It's like, no, this sounds like what it feels like to have a mental breakdown, like that kind of stuff. So like, if he's going to like push it there, like, that'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know where I was going with that train of thought, but I guess where I was going was if he goes in that direction, makes music videos and stuff like that, Batar's already run into censorship issues. So I guess we'll see. Apparently it's a nudity thing more than anything. Pseudo nudity, even though they were fine with Marilyn Manson. They just weren't fine with Batar, and they weren't fine with Batar. They were fine with Batar until they started gaining traction. the music video started gaining traction. So, like, there's a lot of music in VK as of lately that has spoken about self-harm as a topic where it's relieving and it really captures how it does feel. I mean, as an artistic expression, I think it's great. Yeah. Victoria says, I wish big name social platforms would stop desensitizing content. Like, sure, some cases I understand, but it's just giving in to those people who want the internet to be this wholesome place. And I'm sorry, but it never will be. Amen, sister. But they got to get that sweet, sweet family-friendly corporate cash, I guess. Honestly, if he was the type to want to profit off of self-harm or depression, I don't think he would be making such music of such a niche genre. Yeah. I personally enjoy his music and art, so I keep supporting him, says Lauren. Yeah. It's interesting. I haven't listened to his stuff yet, but I will support him. We'll listen to later after I have a couple of drinks. Yeah. It's interesting. He's improving very quickly. I mean, just going off of the PVs at least. I mean, from the single to the album. I got to go listen to his album, but really what I need to do is research black metal properly and then listen to his album. And I understand he's not fully black metal, but from talking with him, he comes from black metal enough that like I don't want to listen to this album just like, oh, Visual K, is this another Visual K album? It's like, no, he more than anything, like there's like the ties to like is to black metal, and so I want to see the root. I want to be able to like know what the roots are, see where that comes from, and maybe I can stream about it, tell you guys what I learned. I had to do all that with progressive metal when it started coming into Visual K. I had to research it. I actually did an after hours stream about how I hate progressive metal as a classification because it completely envelops like so many things. Like symphonic metal is progressive metal as far as the West is concerned. And as someone who has to like classify like Versailles and Dim Lim, no, that's not going to work for me because those are both progressive metal technically. So anyway, sorry, getting off track. Memes are dead, says yay black metal. Lauren says, I think art is one of the only places you can express darker emotions when the whole world just says that there's something wrong with you and that you shouldn't be that way. Yeah, and I think art is going to be it's not the canary in the coal mine. We're like way past the canaries in the coal mine in terms of things getting censored. When people's art starts getting censored, and it probably already is. I'm hearing people have debates about some of the more controversial kinds of art in the nature of censorship, but it's not really there. It's more of like a hypothetical threat. But like when it gets to that point where it's like you're seeing your art more actively censored beyond like, oh, there was nudity in this, that one's like dumb, but that one's like you kind of see it coming. When they start censoring based on the message, based on, I would say, anything from like what we're looking at here on, like that's like fucking panic, bail out, go find another platform. By the way, there's an Instagram alternative called Vero, which you guys might want to check out. Their business model is a little different. They don't show you ads, but they charge you like a monthly for it. But their thing is like they respect artists, I guess, was like their kind of leading step. And like, I guess the thing that got a lot of people on it was Mike Shinoda. Made a post like, Instagram keeps taking off my art because there's nudity in it, doesn't respect artists, so I'm going to Vero. And then a bunch of people went to Vero and it like topped the charts of the App Store. If you guys do like to follow art on Instagram and you do feel like your art, because of the nudity thing, is already being like, oppressed to an unbearable degree, you may want to check that out if you haven't heard of it. It's Vero. I have an account. I'm not sure what the name is under it, but I gotta activate it and get it going a bit more. If you need help with black metal, I can give some pointers. Yeah, I would. I'd appreciate that. So I'm seeing Mayhem, Dark Throne, Leviathan. Yeah. Okay, cool, guys. Well, sounds like we're pretty much on the same page. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of give some random musings on it. I didn't have a big salient point. I just had like those kinds of general thoughts on it. And yeah, the main one just being like, feel free to disapprove, but this would be the kind of thing that I would fight for to keep up, to be allowed to exist, I guess. Got another stream coming up in about 13 minutes. And then we will, I will go ahead and sign off for now. See you guys shortly for the last stream. So, peace out.